back and forth by the waves, and blown here and there by every wind of teaching, by the cunning and craftiness of men and their deceitful scheming. Instead, speak the truth in love. We will in all things grow up into Him, who is the head, that is Christ. From Him, the whole body, joined and held together by every supporting ligament, grows and builds itself up in love as each part does its work. And the title of my speech is Family. The good, the bad, the ugly, the saved. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. We don't have a choice about the family that we're born into. You know what? God places you there for a reason. I was born in 1961 in a little outside of Magnolia, Mississippi. And my mother may have to correct me because it may be in the phone. On a farm that was owned by my grandfather. I lived in a small house with my parents and my older sister. A year and a half later, my brother was born. While my brother was still an infant, my father moved to Oroville, California. Some months later, my mother, 2 toddlers, and an infant took the train to Oroville. Not long after moving to Oroville, my father decided it was not the environment that he wanted to raise his children in or his family. So he moved us to Chico in October of 1964. For the next 12 years, we lived on this property. My parents owned a house up here in the corner of the property, near the Second Baptist Church sign. And then some years later, my mother sold that property to the church. I have no doubt in my heart that my parents loved God with all their hearts. I was born into a family where doing good was not praised, but transgressions were disciplined. Hugs and kisses were not given, but words of reprimand were. While in junior high school, I had sunk so far into depression that I contemplated suicide. While walking to school, I thought of ways to kill myself and how to make the greatest negative impact on my family. I wanted them to hurt the way I was hurting. By 9th grade, I was making decisions, doing things that were reckless and dangerous. Some decisions that I made have impacted my life until this day. You don't have a choice about the family you belong to. Some families are loving and nurturing. Others are evil and abusive. Some big, some small. Some families are noted for their kind deeds and contributions to society, while others are notorious takers. Human beings need other human beings. We must have others to survive. What would happen if an infant had no mother or father to feed it, to bathe it, to hold it, to protect it, to love it and nurture it? The baby would die within a matter of a few short days, if not hours. If you don't have someone to love you and talk to you, more than likely you would go insane, or at the very least be very unstable. And you see people all the time walking on the street. They mumble to themselves, and they walk along, they don't look you in the eye. There's no one that's loving them, taking care of them, human to human, touching and nurturing that they need. Most families have conflicts within the family unit. Perhaps this is because we know each other so intimately. We know the good and the bad, the pretty and the ugly. We know the secrets and the scandals, the truth and the lies. But being with other family members brings conflict and differences of opinion. And that's because we're all individuals. we all have different ways that we think. We all have different things that, that excite us, things that make us angry, things that we're passionate about, things that we want other people to feel too with us. But you know what? We all don't see it that way. We all don't see things the same way. And that's the way God made us. So how do we get along as a family? And let me say this, don't get me wrong, family is great. Some of the time we have people to love us, laugh with us, and at us, protect us, put up with us, lend us money, and spend time with us. So I think that, you know what, yes, we need to have families. It's just part of life. We have to have family. The dictionary gives the definition of family as all those descended from a common ancestor or lineage. For the Christian family, that common ancestor is Jesus. He is the head of our family. Since we have given our lives to Christ, we have entered the family of God. Shouldn't things be better in our lives? When you think about that, yes, things should be better. But you know what? There's always that thing in the world where, being so close to other people, you know what? I know I rub the wrong way sometimes. Somebody else rubs the wrong way sometimes. But you know what? We're still a family. And in the end, we're going to be there together. Yeah. You know what? And in the end, in the very end, we're going to be in heaven together. Mm-hmm. It's a staging right here that we're in. And we have to learn to live with each other. We have to learn to love each other. We have to learn to bear each other's burdens. We have to learn to look at somebody and know that, you know what, through everything, God sees them as a perfect person. God sees them, you know what, once we give our lives to Jesus, God sees us as this perfect person. It's too bad that the rest of us don't see that. And we have to start looking at each other through God's eyes. Through that window that God sets up and says, you know what, I only see you as this perfect person in this window. I'm not looking at all that other stuff that's going on. As long as you're my child, I'm only seeing that. I'm not going to judge you by, what happened in the past, what you do. As long as you know what you come to me and you say, you know what, Lord, I am so sorry. This is not what I want for my life. You know what, Lord, I need your forgiveness. As long as we do that, and God says, you know what, He's faithful to forgive us. It says, shouldn't this family that we're living in have peace, happiness, tranquility? Shouldn't we be loving and caring, making sure that each member of God's family is spiritually as well as physically taken care of? It appears that the family of Christ has taken to looking like the world. When we leave church on Sunday, do we see each other until the next Sunday? Are we in contact? Do we depend on each other? Are we, when something goes wrong or something is burdening us, do we call our family? Do we call our family here in this church, or do we choose to find other counsel? And I think a lot of us do. We find other counsel of people in the world who are giving us some crazy thoughts about what we should be doing every day with our lives. And then we have the nerve to follow that stuff that they put out there. We'll go ahead and do what they suggested we do. And then we find ourselves in a position where we're crying out to God again because it's like, oh Lord, how did I get on this road?
Yeah.
How did I do this? How did I wind up doing this again? In most families, no matter how dysfunctional, if an outsider talks bad about one of our family members, we come to their defense. Christians don't seem to defend, but participate in the disparaging remarks. And that, you know what? I hear it a lot. I'll hear Christians saying something awful about their Christian brothers and sisters, and I'm not going to say that I don't do it. Because sometimes, you get caught up in that thing, it's like, later on when you're thinking about it, it's like, why on earth would I say that about my brother and sister? somebody else, and that person is listening to it and then looking at you funny or looking at you differently. It's like, is that okay? Does God shine on that? Does God like that? And so we have to remember that we have to protect our brothers and sisters in Christ. I think we do forget that. We have to protect them. It's our responsibility to protect them. And you know what? If you see them doing something wrong, it's our responsibility to take them aside and say, you know what, you're not, this is not okay. And you know what? I praised the Lord last Sunday. I had a meltdown. And Sister Anita finally said to me, this is not okay. She had to rein me back in. And I was so angry. I was in the bathroom and I was so angry. And Brother Joe came back and he said it was time for church. And Sister Anita wouldn't let him leave until the problem was taken care of. And I praise God for that because I needed to break through. I didn't know why I was really angry. I was tired. There were some things that had happened the day before. There were, you know what, but instead of focusing on those things, my downfall was I wasn't focusing on God. And so Sister Anita and Brother Joe prayed with me. Brother Joe was actually late coming into service because they prayed it with me until there was a breakthrough. In our church, there's a hierarchy. Jesus is the head of our church. We always have access to Jesus. We don't have to wait till we come on Sunday to pray. We don't have to wait till we come on Sunday for Pastor to put his hand on us and say, you know what, everything's going to be okay. And we have access to Jesus. We can pray every single day, every moment of the day, and he hears everything that we're saying. God sees everything. He hears it. Everything that we're saying. So it's like, you know what, if like Justin was talking about his friend, it's like, Justin didn't wait till we came to church and say, you know, I'll pray for you when I get to church. You had to pray for that person continuously, all the time.
Yeah.
And so that's part of what we as Christians are called to do. You know what? God wants to have, since he's our Father in heaven, he wants his children to come to him all the time. He wants us to talk to him all the time. You know what? Even when it's stuff that we're saying, you know, Lord, I can't do this. You know what, Lord, I gotta go pick my children and they're gonna drive me crazy. You know, Lord, I'm angry right now, and if you don't step in right now, it's gonna, you know what, I'm going off the deep end. And so, you know what, God is in place. He's always there. Next in line is our pastor. He's the leader of our family. Our earthly family. He's the leader of this church. Our family, this church is our family. And our pastor is the leader. You know what, every time something happens, you know, pastor, he has a lot on his plate. We can go to pastor and he'll pray for us and he'll do as much as he can. But you know what? The persons who are the go-to guys here are our deacons. When you need something, you go to them. They are there to lead you in the right direction, which means that they may suggest that you talk to the pastor or one of the church mothers. Perhaps they can handle the problem themselves, but our deacons are the go-to guys. And so we need to remember that when we have struggles. You know what? They're there, they pray for us. I believe that our deacons are godly men that God has called. They may not be a pastor, but you know what? They do about the same thing. And their calling is on them. It's not something that you just decide, I want to be a deacon. There's a calling on them. Members should be available to pray for one another as well. So as a member of this body, we need to be available to each other. We need to say to people, you know what, call me. I don't do it enough because, you know, me, folks know me. Y'all all know me. That phone, boy, will ring and ring and ring. legitimate reasons for some of it. But every once in a while, I just don't pick it up. And you know what? I'm going to say right here in front of everybody, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better about it. And we do have our church mothers. Our church mothers are godly women of a certain age who are available to give us encouragement and guidance. The Sisters of Faith are a great example of these women. They have different backgrounds. They're coming together, they study the Word, they fellowship and worship together. Not only do they share the Word, but they have outings and meals together. They are truly a family. They're not related, but they are a family. You should get to know them. Not just on the surface of saying hello, but intimately. Each is a fountain of wisdom, and it's free. I don't want to forget our ushers. They make us comfortable. They get us what we want. They should be shushing us sometimes. But you know, I think that our ushers are such a great part of this congregation. They greet people at the door, they make them feel welcome. It's also important that each member of our family contribute to the upkeep of the family dwelling. How do you think that the water, garbage, electricity, phone, other things in this church are paid for? What about toilet paper, paper towels, paper goods, bottled water, and so many other things that have to be purchased? They're purchased by our tithes and offerings. I don't want to get up here and talk about, you know, you need to give a tenth of everything you give to the church. I do believe, though, that we need to make a commitment to God to say, you know what, Father God, this is how much I have in my purse, or in my budget, that I can give you every single month. Every month. This is my goal. This is what I'm giving you every month. And then make it a point to do that. God blesses that.
Yes, He provides it.
He provides it.
And replenishes it.
You know, and I can truly say that, you know what, I don't have a large income. But every month, I do make sure that I put in that amount that God has said, you know what, you need to do this. And even sometimes when I think it's going to hurt, but you know what, God always makes it through the month for me.
Yeah, and it comes back to you.
And I don't lack anything. I'm not, my bills are paid. And so, you know what, and so sometimes, and I know that, you know, here in the near future, He's probably going to tell me, you know what, you need to give a little more. But, you know what, I think that you have to make that commitment to God and say, you know what, Father God, I have this. I want to contribute to the family. I want to make sure that we have the things that we need in God's house. It takes money to run your home. It takes money to run God's church. I was on the internet, and I was looking up family, and there were some of these things that talk about family are kind of funny. It says, family, we may not have it all together, but together we have it all, which is so true. When you have a family, you have everything that you need. You have love, you have nurturing. You know, if you're hungry, you go to a family member. If you're busted and you're broke, there's a family member that may be able to help you out. If you're weak and you just need prayer, there's a family member. There's always somebody in the family who has different gifts, who has different talents that can help you get to where you need to be.
Yeah.
A happy family is but an earlier heaven. So, you know what? Every family is dysfunctional. Every family is dysfunctional. There is somebody in our family who just does something that you're looking at them going, really? family. And so it's like, you know what, so we shouldn't, think, oh, we're the only one. Everybody's family has somebody in there where you're just kind of saying, oh man, I gotta put up with him again. But you know what? God says, yeah, you do. So we do. We have to put up with them again. And you know what? What's that phrase of fake it till you make it? You know what? You better fake the love until you make it. You fake like you love that person until you really actually love that person. If you speak, positive things to that person, and you give that person love, then eventually that love comes back. And that person knows it. And I think a lot of times people don't know that they're loved, and that may be the reason why they're responding the way they do.
Yeah, that's
They
right.
need to know that, and they need to feel loved. Love the people that God gave you, because He will need them back someday. So it's like, you know what? We may look at people and they may get on our nerves, but when they're gone, what do you think? When they're gone and they're not there, and God has them in His arms, what are you going to think? How are you going to feel? You feel so sad, but it's like, why don't you give that person love now? Why do we love that person now? This one says, I love my dysfunctional family. Even though we are dysfunctional, they make things more interesting.
One way to put it.
And that is true. I found this one. It says, my family is just one bed short of a psychiatric ward.
Man. That's real. Jack is up.
Or families are like fudge, mostly sweet with a few nuts. And then here is my last one. It says, my family is temperamental, half temper and half mental. But we do. Just like there's that poem that I gave out once when I was speaking, and it talked about what children learn. And it's the same with family. What family learns. If we're a family that criticizes, then we learn to forgive. If we're a family with hostility, we learn to fight. If we're a family that lives with fear, we learn to be apprehensive. If we're a family that lives with pity, then we learn to feel sorry for ourselves. If we're a family that ridicules, then we learn to feel shame. If we're a family that's jealous, then we learn to feel envy. If we're a family that shames one another, then we learn to feel guilty. If we encourage, then we learn confidence. If we're tolerant, we learn patience. If we praise one another, we learn appreciation. If we accept one another, we learn to love. Yeah. If we approve of one another, then everyone learns to love themselves. If we live with recognition, then we learn to have good words. If we share, we learn generosity. If we live honestly with each other, we learn truthfulness. If we live with fairness, we learn justice. If we're kind and considerate to one another, we learn respect. If we live with security and we learn to have faith in ourselves and in God, we learn to have faith in ourselves, in God, and those around us. If we live with friendship, then we learn that the world is a place where we can live